He was, in a way, because he had just done a huge time of celibacy.
One of the things that I fell in love with Katie was like, I didn't really, she hates when I say this, so I have to word
I
it.
had a really tough year, and I finally went to Hoffman towards the end of that year that we were separated.
They were once Hollywood's golden couple. Katy Perry, the chart-topping pop powerhouse, and Orlando Bloom, the heartthrob turned family man. Together, they looked unstoppable. Red carpets, adorable parenting moments, public displays of love. But behind the flashbulbs and filtered Instagram posts, something darker has been simmering. Now, rumors of betrayal, humiliation, and emotional distance are threatening to implode their relationship. So what really happened? Did one trip to space trigger the end of a 6-year love story? In April, Katy Perry made history. She boarded a Blue Origin flight, becoming one of the few civilians and the first major pop star to launch into space. It was meant to be a moment of glory. Photos captured her radiant smile, her triumphant pose, and beside her stood Orlando Bloom, seemingly proud, supportive, and beaming with admiration. To the public, it looked like a power couple milestone. But behind closed doors, a very different story. According to insiders, what followed was a brutal argument, one that Katy never saw coming. Orlando allegedly called the whole thing cringeworthy, saying the spaceflight made her look ridiculous. He didn't just mock the experience, he belittled it. He told her it was embarrassing, a source revealed, and it hurt her deeply. Imagine achieving something so rare, going beyond Earth's atmosphere, only to come home and be mocked by the person you love most. It crushed her, the insider added. She had expected awe and pride, but instead got sarcasm and shame. What was supposed to be one of the proudest moments in her life became the first visible crack in their relationship. And that crack, it was only the beginning. Just weeks after the spaceflight drama, things took an even messier turn. This time with a wedding that had nothing to do with romance and everything to do with resentment. While Katy hit the road for her Lifetimes tour, Orlando made a surprise decision. He RSVP'd yes to attend the ultra-exclusive Italian wedding of none other than Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez, the very duo behind the Blue Origin spaceflight that caused their last explosive argument. The irony, Katy couldn't go. Tour commitments meant she had to miss it. But Orlando, he didn't hesitate. She's finding it really hard to accept, a close source shared. He complains about her going to space, then turns around and celebrates with the people who made it happen. And here's where it stings even more. Bezos and Sánchez weren't even really his friends. They were Katy's. According to reports, Orlando's relationship with the billionaire couple is more casual at best. Yet, he still prioritized attending their wedding solo, knowing full well how much it would hurt her. For Katy, it wasn't just about missing a party. It felt personal, like a deliberate slap in the face. One insider even called it a F move. Her trust, already shaken from the spaceflight drama, now it felt like he was twisting the knife. And as he jetted off to a star-studded celebration, Katy was left performing to thousands, with a smile that was starting to look more like a mask. While Orlando was off mingling with billionaires, Katy faced her own uphill battle, one that hit even closer to home. Her latest album, 143, was supposed to mark a new era, a return to form, a fresh wave of pop brilliance that redefined her sound. But instead of climbing the charts, it crashed. Critics called it forgettable, and fans didn't connect. The commercial response? Brutal. According to People, Katy was devastated. This wasn't just a failed project, it was a personal blow. After years of success, this album mattered. It was her creative baby. And seeing it flop so publicly, it left her shaken. Behind the scenes, Orlando tried to be there. He said the right things, showed up when he could. But insiders say the emotional disconnect was impossible to ignore. The tension between them, already strained from the spaceflight and wedding drama, got worse. She needed real support, one source said. Not just a pat on the back. The pressure of a high-profile relationship, a demanding tour, and now a failing album. It was a perfect storm, and instead of weathering it together, they started drifting apart. For a couple known for resilience, this felt different, more final, the kind of emotional distance that no red carpet pose could fix. To the outside world, Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom always looked picture perfect. But those who followed them closely know their love story has never been without turbulence. Their relationship began back in 2016, sparked by a flirty moment at a Golden Globes after-party. They were magnetic, instantly becoming one of Hollywood's most watched couples. But less than a year in, things started to unravel. By early 2017, they had split, with reps confirming it was mutual. But the cracks were obvious. Still, they found their way back. By 2019, they were engaged, and in 2020, they welcomed their daughter, Daisy Dove Bloom, a moment that seemed to cement their bond forever. But behind those milestone moments, the tension never really disappeared. They came from two very different worlds. Katy, used to stadiums, spotlight, and pop dominance. Orlando, more private, more spiritual, often stepping away from the Hollywood machine. Their energies didn't always align, and while their love was real, so were their arguments, frequent and, according to insiders, intense. They've always had a love-hate dynamic, one source revealed. Their chemistry is strong, but so are their egos. From clashing work schedules to opposing views on fame and parenting styles, the battles were constant. But somehow, they always made it back to each other. Until now. Because this time, the silence between them is stretching longer than usual, and the smiles are starting to fade. Fans have been asking the question quietly for months, but now, whispers have turned into headlines. Is this the end for Katy and Orlando? According to Page 6, it's already over. One insider didn't mince words. It's done. They're just waiting until her tour ends in December to make it official. No statement, no confirmation, just a calculated silence that feels eerily final. And that silence, it's only making things worse. They've stopped appearing at each other's events. Katy's tour stops are noticeably Bloom-free. Orlando's public outings feel solo. The once frequent social media posts, gone. The sparkle that defined their early days, replaced by long absences and tension-filled headlines. Even more telling, neither of them is fighting the rumors. When the breakup stories first started to bubble up, fans expected denial, damage control, maybe even a photo op to shut things down. But none of that happened. Instead, the couple has chosen silence. And in celebrity culture, silence speaks volumes. It's not just the fans noticing either. Sources close to the couple say this separation isn't temporary. This time, there's no fixer, no reunion plan. Just two people who've grown in opposite directions, trying to keep the fallout quiet until the timing is right. And when that moment comes, if it hasn't already, this fairy tale romance might end with a whisper. Not a scream. Every breakup has a tipping point, but what leads up to that moment is usually a slow burn. For Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom, it wasn't just one argument or one bad decision. It was a pattern. And now it's becoming clear that the signs were there all along. At the core of their tension, ego, ambition, and conflicting identities, Katy has always been the spotlight magnet. Chart-topping albums, sold-out tours, television appearances, brand deals. Her career moves fast, and it rarely slows down. Orlando, by contrast, prefers to move with intention. He values privacy, calm, and space, something that doesn't always align with global stardom. Some sources close to the couple claim that jealousy may have played a quiet role. Not the dramatic kind, but the slow, simmering discomfort of being overshadowed. While Katy soared higher and took bolder steps, including literally leaving the planet, Orlando sometimes felt sidelined. That kind of imbalance can shake even the strongest foundations. Then there's the emotional disconnect. Insiders say their communication had become strained. Support felt performative, not personal. Moments that should have brought them closer only widened the gap. From the space launch to the album release, they kept missing each other. Not physically, but emotionally. It wasn't about what they did, it was about how they stopped showing up for each other when it mattered most. And maybe that's the quiet truth behind the headlines. Two powerful individuals, trying to make love work in a world where timing, pride, and pressure kept pulling them apart. Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom were never just another celebrity couple. They were a symbol of two worlds colliding, pop royalty and Hollywood legacy. But behind the glitz, their love story was quietly unraveling. From public blow-ups to private heartbreak, it seems the spark that once brought them together has finally burned out. And as they each go their separate ways, one on tour, the other walking solo into high society events, the world is left wondering, was this the quiet end of something that was never meant to last? If you want the real stories behind the headlines, don't forget to subscribe for more updates just like this.